What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is another installment of the Desert Storm videos. We're doing these every other day, aren't we?
Yeah.
And oh my god, they're mind-blowing.
They've been a bit intense.
Very, very intense. Again, because you don't realise, because it is animated. Even though it doesn't say animated in this title, so maybe this one isn't. It has been animated so far. And you kind of forget a little bit that it is real life.
Yeah.
But this actually happened.
Yeah, that's because you sit on a screen like... It's like reading on paper, isn't it? Like reading on paper what's happened.
Completely different, yeah. Like with the we went back to it last episode, the episode before that, when the fighter pilot, you hear about it, you think, oh my god, that's so intense of that. But then when you actually hear the footage of him doing it, it's like, oh, it hits different. Yeah. So it is very, very scary as well. But this is a very intriguing side of how like kind of like a chessboard war can be strategy wise and stuff like that. Smash that button, guys. Smash that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. We're streaming tonight.
Yes. So
if you're watching this on the 31st of March, before 6 Eastern, we're streaming at 6 Eastern. For an hour, we're going to do US citizenship test, which will be a video eventually. Me versus Millie. Oh, I thought you wanted to high-five me. You put your hand on your knee. We'll be doing the citizenship test. We'll be doing a bit of a Q&A, like always, and maybe a reaction in that as well. So, be there, be square.
Alright, 5-year-old.
Smash that subscribe button, guys. And let's check out the next installment of Desert Storm. Battleship USS Missouri.
Missouri.
Missouri?
Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri.
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 Missouri. No, it's not Mish.
Missouri.
Missouri.
Right, you say it.
Missouri.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you're saying Missouri.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's probably right. I can't speak. I'm tired. I can't speak. It comes under fire anyway by Iraqi anti-ship missile attack. Okay, so the Iraqis fighting back a little bit because obviously the US destroyed the naval annihilation of the naval, the last one. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on this. Are you ready?
Yes.
Super long intro, but let's get into it. What we got? Ooh, is this animated?
Doesn't look it. It started different.
That was a nice intro. I was like,
it's smooth.
On the 24th of January, a week into the air war of Desert Storm, 2 Iraqi Mirage F-1s take off from Al Jarrah airfield armed with the proven and feared Exocet anti-ship missile, a weapon that has in the recent past severely damaged and sunk US Navy and Royal Navy warships.
That's why it's feared then.
Yeah.
They head southeast towards the Persian Gulf. The Iraqi Air Force is going to try to do what it hasn't attempted thus far in this conflict, to sink a coalition warship.
Okay.
In November 1990, 2 months prior to this moment and during Desert Shield, the build-up of forces in Saudi Arabia prior to Desert Storm commencing, the US launches Operation Imminent Thunder, a dress rehearsal massed amphibious assault involving 20 vessels and 18,000 sailors and marines on Ras Al Ghar in Saudi Arabia. The 4th and 5th Marine Expeditionary Brigades then embark on 5 amphibious assault ships and remain in the Persian Gulf. Desert Storm begins on the 17th of January 1991 with the 5-week air campaign against Saddam's military.
Yep.
The coalition's naval forces conduct cruise missile strikes, anti-ship operations against the Iraqi Navy, anti-mine operations, and naval bombardments against Iraqi positions on the Kuwaiti coast.
Okay.
Given the press coverage of Imminent Thunder, and knowing that those amphibious troops are now massed just off the Kuwaiti coast, Iraqi divisions are deployed along the coastline to defend against the amphibious assaults they believe will come. This brings more Iraqi troops into range of naval bombardment, and weakens the Iraqi front line facing the coalition to the south. Of the approximately 100 combat vessels of the coalition naval forces, most are positioned in the Gulf, and Saddam knows that these vessels are doing untold damage to his forces in Kuwait. On the 24th of January,
so much damage from like not actually being there. Obviously the planes can get to them, but you kind of feel like a little bit away in the sea.
Yeah, you think that, but...
And they can still just have an assault on there which is doing so much damage. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing is just...
It is.
Path of the 2 Exocet armed Iraqi Mirages is causing confusion for coalition air controllers. They're manoeuvring, almost as if it was on purpose, right along the border between the area of responsibility of the US Air Force and the US Navy, and are now heading southeast along the Saudi coast.
Ooh,
this has caused confusion, and now no US aircraft are in range to intercept them. At any moment, they will likely turn to port and make their attack against coalition warships in the Gulf. The aircraft are just minutes from a potential launch range.
We're going against all
British
men.
hospital ship
Just
RFA
empty.
Argus has positioned herself on the western side of the fleet in order to receive helicopter casualty evacuations if required. She is likely the Mirage's target. Guarding Argus is Type 22 frigate HMS Brazen, which has just detected the bandits. She has a problem though. Her crew have just discovered a fault in one of her Seawolf anti-aircraft missile
I find it weird when
launchers.
they give boats genders.
It's not clear whether she will...
I don't even.
I'm like, who are they talking about?
Oh, yeah, I'm so confused. But that is extremely bad timing. There's someone coming in and they've just figured out that anti-aircraft thing isn't working.
Yeah, it's not great.
I suppose disaster.
be able to defend herself and the hospital ship at full efficiency. A young radio operator aboard HMS Brazen, Radio Operator 2nd Class Paul Charlton, is just 20 years old and is on his first ever Navy
20
deployment.
years old.
He has no idea that mirages are moving in against his ship, and at this moment he receives a high priority radio message. Protocol demands that he hand delivers this message to the ship's operations room. 20-year-old radio operator 2nd Class Paul Charlton would, later in life, create a YouTube channel called The Mighty Jingles.
Okay.
Upon arriving at the ops room, he recalls the following.
An immediate priority signal, an immediate precedence signal had come in that had to be rushed to the PWO, the Principal Warfare Officer, who was on duty in the ops room because we were at action stations. I didn't know why we were at action stations. I didn't know we were under direct attack. Walked into the ops room, immediately knew something was going on. Got rugby tackled by the ORS, the ops room supervisor, who was a chief radar operator, and told in no uncertain terms to not bother anybody for at least the next 5 minutes. So I just had to stand there and wait, and had a grandstand view of the ops room coming together in order to fight this threat.
Wow.
So yeah, they were close. They were
That must
really
be
close.
hard.
The thing is,
Especially knowing that you have information that you need to tell them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, he doesn't know that the information he's been told is, like, could affect the next 5 minutes or not.
It could
So
potentially, yeah.
he's got to stand there quietly and not say anything when
I think, though, if it had been that detrimental to
they
it,
would have said.
he'd have
do
just
it
got it
now.
out. He'd
Yeah, he
just
would
have
have
said it. You know what I mean? Like, no, you need
Have
to
to
listen
tell
to me.
this, yeah.
But I suppose at 20 years old,
That's a lot.
in a war, it's stressful, isn't it?
Especially when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, let us know in the comments as well if we should check his channel out, because that's awesome he's got a channel. I imagine he's got so much insight from actually the experiences and stuff like that, because I imagine he went on to do so much more as well, which what he's done is completely enough, but doing that at the age of 20, I'm sure he's done a lot more as well. So let us know in the comments if we should check it out. I might just check it out in my own time, to be honest. That is sick.
the procedure because they were going for the Argus, the hospital ship, we were just in the way. Our response would have been to put ourselves in the way. Intercept the missiles with Seawolf if we could, and if not, launch decoys and hope they went for the decoys, because if they didn't go for the decoys, we were going to have to take the hit. I tried to give this signal to the PWO and was immediately shoulder charged by the ops room manager and told to leave them alone, don't interrupt, we're busy.
It's
and
a stressful
that was the
environment,
precise moment when a pair of, I believe it was Saudi Arabian Air Force F-15 Eagles, intercepted these two bandits when they were about 2 or 3 minutes outside of Exocet launch range. So I was standing there in the ops room just watching all of this happen and suddenly realising, wow, this war suddenly got very exciting.
And real.
Anticipating that the Iraqis might also launch land-based anti-ship attacks against the coalition warships, the air campaign extends to include strikes against mobile launchers and storage facilities for Iraq's 50 to 70 Chinese-built HY-2 Seersucker land-based anti-ship missiles, a variant of the earlier Silkworm missile. Saddam has set up a storage facility inside a girls' school in Kuwait, correctly assuming that the coalition won't launch airstrikes against it. These images show the Seersucker missiles on trolleys in the school corridors.
Wow.
By the 20th of February, Coalition intelligence believes that all launchers have been destroyed, along with most of the missiles in theatre. Unfortunately, this isn't the case. At 4:52 AM on the 25th of February, an A6 intruder is flying on a bombing sortie over Kuwait and Iraq. The crew spots 2 plumes of smoke as 2 land-based anti-ship missiles are launched out into the Persian Gulf. The first crashes into the sea immediately, but the second levels out and makes its way towards its target, a battleship that first served in World War II, the USS Missouri. The missile travels at just under the speed of sound, but at a relatively high sea skimming altitude of between 400 and 700 feet.
So, Charles, just under the speed of sound, which is incredibly fast. That's absolutely going, isn't it? Again, technology is mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that, I mean, we obviously know how bad people they were anyway. That's the reason the whole thing's happening.
Yeah.
But they're using the school, taking a chance on a school, which I'm guessing people potentially was attending that.
Well, I guess, because they thought because there's a school, you wouldn't necessarily want to attack it.
Yeah, but why are you... And
but
obviously,
why are you putting those people at risk?
Yeah, why would you play that game?
I mean, there may be nobody in it. It might be an abandoned school for all we know, but the fact that they've mentioned it kind of means there's significant probably chance that.
Yeah, and definitely, and luckily, obviously, the rest of us, they're not going to try or purposely bomb a school. So it's worked at the end of the day. But why play with that fire? You know what I mean?
It's just it's risking lives that aren't involved.
Yeah, exactly. It's just no
innocent
need.
People who don't need to be brought into it, especially children. Why,
Exactly, and obviously there is morals on one side at least, so they haven't done it. But it's just the principle, isn't it? It's mad, absolutely mad.
The A6 that spotted the launch
you wouldn't use a hospital either, definitely.
Transmits a warning to US Naval Forces Central Command, but this hasn't been forwarded to the group in time. The Missouri is escorted by US Navy frigate USS Jarrett and minesweeper USS Avenger, and British Royal Navy destroyer HMS Gloucester, frigate HMS London, and minesweeper HMS Cattistock. Gloucester is the first to detect an incoming contact by radar at 21 nautical miles range, inside a designated air lane for coalition aircraft returning home after hitting targets in Iraq and Kuwait. She executes a snap turn to starboard to unveil her Sea Dart anti-air missiles near her bow. Her crew are under pressure to defend the surface group, but also to prevent a potential friendly fire incident. 43 seconds after the contact was first spotted, the crew of Gloucester correctly classify the contact as an incoming anti-ship missile, and 2 Sea Darts are launched. As the Sea Darts are on their way, the seersucker is visually spotted by lookouts on Missouri.
Oh, they can see
She dispenses chaff countermeasures into the sky around her, attempting to confuse the enemy missile's radar, and switches her Phalanx close-in weapon systems to auto-engage. Just 4 nautical miles away, Gloucester's Sea Darts arrive and destroy the missile mid-flight. Missouri's Phalanx never opens fire, possibly because its radars were being confused by her own chaff, or because the seersucker hadn't achieved a good lock and appeared to be missing astern of her. The entire defensive engagement, from detection to classification and successful interception, has taken 89 seconds.
89
the A6,
seconds.
which had spotted the missile launch, attacks the launcher with cluster bombs. The following morning of the 25th of February, further air operations are conducted to find and destroy seersucker launchers. HMS Gloucester is replaced by Falklands War veteran Type 42 destroyer HMS Exeter, and in the afternoon, the surface group is in the same position with Missouri conducting coastal bombardments. Exeter receives a radio report from minesweeper HMS Atherstone that she's visually spotted a plume of smoke near the coast to their west. Her crew don't know for sure what it was, but the plume would be consistent with another seersucker launch against the surface group.
Okay.
Exeter alerts the other ships in the group that another potential missile could be inbound. The observed smoke was actually from the detonation of a Kuwaiti oil well near the coast by Iraqi forces, but the surface group don't know this and must treat the threat of an incoming missile very seriously.
Especially after you've just had that one
you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know what's going to happen. You see it
not taking chances.
Why risk it and be like, it's just an oil rig, you know what I mean? Like,
This time, frigate USS Jarrett is quite close to Missouri, at just 2 to 3 nautical miles. Both switch their Phalanx systems into auto-engage mode. Missouri begins to launch chaff pods into the air around her, again to confuse the supposed incoming weapons radar seeker. However, as the chaff pods explode above her, dispensing thousands of metal strips into the air, USS Jarrett's Phalanx system automatically classifies the chaff as a target. The gun slews to starboard and fires a 220 round burst of 20mm fire into the chaff cloud just above the Missouri. 4 of these rounds hit the Missouri herself, 2 of which penetrate lightly armoured areas of the ship, but luckily no casualties are suffered.
ooh,
A second chaff cloud explodes above her, and again Jarrett's Phalanx opens fire on it, but this time is manually shut off by an alert sailor.
Okay.
The events shown here are the only attempts by the Iraqi military to directly attack coalition warships in the Gulf. The more continuous threat was posed by Iraqi naval mines, an obstacle that would have made an amphibious assault on the Kuwaiti coast perilous. No such assault was attempted in the end, but General Norman Schwarzkopf would later say he had every intention of conducting amphibious operations if they became necessary, and that he was glad that Saddam feared such a possibility enough to concentrate his forces inside Kuwait, allowing for the ease of the ground forces left hook north and east to cut them off when the ground campaign commences.
There you go. Shout out to Matty Jingles as well for sharing his story. Maybe we'll check out his channel. Let us know in the comments if you want us to do it on video, or we'll just check it out on our own. But that's the thing, isn't it? You've got all this power. You don't necessarily have to use it.
Yeah.
You just got to flex it a little bit.
That one was weird because it was like the first time we've properly seen them try and fight back.
Fight back and
try and see like where the US are a bit nervous.
Yeah, a little bit nervous, a little bit in danger.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but they got saved. I mean, by the skin of their teeth.
Skin of their teeth.
On a few of them, but
I suppose it all just happened so quickly, and they're trained, they're alert, and they nailed it. You know what I mean?
As long as they do it, I mean.
Oh, it's scary, though, isn't it?
A couple of seconds later, and it's a different story, isn't it?
Exactly. So you just got to be alert, and again, that high stress environment, just being alert on it. Like, no, give me a second. I don't care about your information. I need to focus on this. You know what I mean? Smash that button if you enjoy, guys. Smash that subscribe button as well, you absolute legends. If you're watching this before 6 Eastern or between 6 and 7 Eastern, we'll be streaming on the 31st of March. If you're watching it after, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And what's your video?
Have a fantastic
day. We will see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.